And bringing the nightmares to life proved one of the biggest challenges to date for the production.
When I got the page, I read it, and like I do a lot on the show, how are they going to shoot this? How in the world are they going to get away with this?
The sequence itself is very, very complicated because basically everything that's happening to Matt and Nathan is happening to the both of them together. They are actually wrestling with one another in the apartment. They're beating each other up. Basically, Maury has created a dual nightmare in which hopefully the two of them would end up killing each other.
Yes!
Even though they're in their own separate nightmares that are actually very specific to themselves, choreographically, they had to go through exactly the same motions so that they could be intercut as if almost they were one sequence.
We had an incredible stunt coordinator who really mirrored those fights in a brilliant way so that the editors could cut and it made sense. The hard part about that is that he was on a rooftop and I was in a jail cell. So the space is different. The things you have to work with are different. He got slammed up against the pigeon coop. I got slammed up against the wall of the prison cell.
It's very operatic. It's a ballet, you know, having to make these fight choreographed sequences work. So I was a little confused at points, and Greg and I were both like, you know what's going on here? Yeah, okay. You know what you're doing? Right. I know what I'm doing. Okay, let's just do those two things and then let the rest of them worry about the rest of it.
And as Nathan was also fighting a scarred version of himself,
I knew you could survive.
It made filming even more confusing.
I'd never done anything like that before, reacting against a stunt double and then against nothing and then against a green screen. It's all very complicated.
What we ended up doing is having the scene played twice. Once Nathan as his alter ego, we'll call him Scarface. So he's in the full makeup and he's playing Scarface, and a double is playing Nathan, and the camera is mostly looking at Scarface as he's punching and kicking Nathan. The next day we do Nathan as himself, and the double is now in the Scarface makeup. That makeup took maybe 5 hours to put on, so we couldn't take it on and off during the course of the day multiple times. Of course, there is a couple of moments in the scene where you want to be able to clearly see both Nathan and Scarface in the shot and recognize that it's him in both cases. Those had to be done in the computer, and they had to be done by matching not only the motion of the actor but also the motion of the camera that was shot 2 days apart.
For the background element, we've always had tremendous amount of control of what does New York look like from the DeVoe rooftop, because of course that's always shot against the blue screen. So we created the daytime look, the nighttime look. We created a look for it in winter with all the buildings in the background covered with snow. In season 1, we created a look of what is it 5 years after the bomb has gone off? How does the construction going? What's being rebuilt? What got destroyed? What survived? This was supposed to be just seconds after the bomb went off. It wasn't, you know, days later after the dust had settled. It was literally right after the flash point. All the dust is in the air, everything is on fire, and we needed to show that chaos. We were really inspired a lot by the documentary footage from the first Gulf War of all the oil wells burning in Kuwait, and just the dense black clouds that were constantly being emitted from the fires there, and the way the sky looked, which was often just from the horizon everywhere you could look around, this dark grayish orange kind of bleakness. It almost looked in some ways like hell.
You have an idea of how it's going to be in your head, and then the special effects teams they'll blow you away. There's always something in it that you don't see or expect or know is going to happen.
And there's one unsung hero in this nightmare, and that's Adrian Pasdar.
Get away from me!
As having his makeup and prosthetics applied proved a monster of a job.
But I would show up here at 4 in the morning and the guys would show up. And then I would close my eyes because they'd put the pieces on. And I'd wake up and it would be a whole transformation, you know. To have people actually sculpting your face and putting prosthetic pieces and makeup and stuff like that on your face is like a living art. for me, it was just an amazing thing to be a part of that kind of artistry.
Adrian Pasdar was a complete trooper. It literally took 3 or 4 hours to put that makeup on every single time, and then he'd have to sort of sit in it all day long, and it wasn't that comfortable, but I think it was a lot of fun for him to have it on, and it's probably fun in a strange way for Adrian to not be so handsome for a while. Can you imagine the burden of that level of handsomeness just all day long, every day?
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true. I saw your face in a crowded place, and I don't know what to do, 'cause I'll never be with you.
I remember pulling up at a stop sign, and a cop was next to me, a traffic light, and he just, looked over and he's like, are you all right? I was completely, that side of the face was all like, yeah, I'm fine, it's makeup, he's like, all right, only in Hollywood can you get away with that kind of, the guy can, have a nice night, okay.
But it's time to face the truth. I will never